Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Exciting announcement for all of my listeners. I've officially opened my exclusive group, the ProjectME Passive Income Posse, to the public. This group is by application only, so we can keep the group high vibe and spend our time, energy, and expertise only helping those of you who truly want massive success and impact. You get live weekly trainings from me, special guest coaches, and direct access to me and my business partner for all of your questions. To learn more and apply, go to projectmewithtiffany.com, click on Work With Me, and select ProjectME Posse. And of course, any questions, feel free to DM me at ProjectMeWithTiffany. Welcome to the podcast and posse, ProjectME with Tiffany Carter. So I hear you guys, you make comments on my posts, you DM me at ProjectMeWithTiffany, and you tell me, girl, I'm afraid to show up online. I'm afraid I might be too much. I'm not enough. I'm weird. I have an accent. I don't know if people are going to like that. I'm afraid of looking stupid or what my family will think. Have you guys you guys can resonate with that, right? There's so many fears. And then what happens is, especially for those of you, I coach or who are in my posse, you guys then will tag me, which I love when you guys tag me in your videos to get feedback, but I can feel it energetically that you're holding back, and so can your audience. So I brought on a new friend of mine and an expert in showing up and stepping into your authentic self, and not in an annoying way that we keep seeing online. She's the real deal. So her name rhymes with Maya. It's Jaya. So I'm saying that for myself, because I have other friends that have their names spelled the same way that are pronounced differently. So I have Jaya Rose here. She is a transformational speaker, spiritual life coach, podcast host, and founder of the 7-phase magnetic embodiment method. What's up, girl?
Yes, I love it. Hi, it's Jaya like Maya.
We've got, you know what? That's an easy, I'm glad you said that, because either I would have messed it up, but then this way, when people want to go and hit you up on Instagram, they're like, okay, what is that? It's Maya. Okay. The JayaRose.com or at the Jaya Rose. And I'm going to
break it down.
We're going to break it down.
We're in kindergarten.
So I noticed you laughed when I was doing the intro, and I said, you teach people, how to step into their true authentic self, but not in that fake annoying way that we see people talking about.
Which is ironic, right? What does that even mean, to be annoying when you're your authentic self? But I know what you're saying. I feel like it's become such it's like a campaign to be authentic. And it becomes the question, what does it even mean to be authentic if you have to try to be it?
Yes.
Right?
I don't understand the psychology of it, but I also have compassion for people who are doing that, because I think they are really trying to show up as an authentic. But if you're being authentic, you don't have to try, right?
Right. Right. It's a paradox, right? All good spiritual concepts are paradoxes in some way. And this is that. It's try to be authentic, but don't try. So you're welcome. Have a good day.
So first, for my, people in my audience who've, never met you before, tell us a little bit, how you got into this space. Did you come out of the womb as a transformational life coach?
I did. Yeah. I'm the only one who did. I did come out of the womb to very free-spirited thinkers. My name is Jaya Rose, and my mom is a total hippie and was into ashrams and this group called the Ananda Margins, who they got married through. And that's actually how I got my name. And so, yeah, in some ways, I think I do have a permission slip to be more authentic because there was like no choice for me. My mom is also a lesbian and an activist. And I'm just like, yeah, we're weird. Like, we're weird.
Wow,
And
interesting.
yeah, I think it plays a part though. It's like, how comfortable are you being different than other people? Because I think that's the question about authenticity. It's like we're afraid to be different than other people and we want to be accepted and we want to be validated. And I think that I always knew that I was just different. I think I accepted that at a younger age. So sort of, right? Like it's in alignment for me to do this work, but hell no, I didn't claim it for a long time.
So what drives you to want to help inspire through, when you do various speaking engagements, through your coaching? What really is the deep motivator in helping people and nurturing people to step into their true selves and like show it to the world?
Yeah. Right. Of course, it's because I didn't do it. It's because I always have had a burning desire to help people. From a young age, that was the question for me. Okay, here are my various talents. How am I going to put it together and help people? And I was actually 25 when I started asking myself that because at 25, I had a 5-year-old. So I had been a young mom. And at that point, I was a single mom. And I was like, whoa, okay, I'm a little late. Maybe people are already out of college and they know what they're doing. What the hell am I going to do? And so I thought, well, I'm really just naturally good with people. People always have opened up to me because I'm highly sensitive and empathic, right? And I hold the space. And I liked to work out. I actually trained capoeira at that point, capoeira, the Brazilian martial art.
No, it sounds very sexy though.
Dude, oh yeah, it is. No, it is kind of. It is because you get a really big ass. So it's founded in Brazil. When the African slaves were brought to Brazil, it was a way for them to practice training and staying strong and agile, and they would mask it in samba. So the samba dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they would actually train dance fight where they do cartwheels to get like out of the way from somebody and these dance kicks. And then when the slave owners would come by, they would mask it in samba like, oh, hey, we're just actually dancing. We're not being stealth.
Wow.
Isn't that fascinating? Yeah. I was really into that.
You really are different. You really embrace it.
Yeah. I mean, I just follow what feels good, I think is the core of it. But I did that. I was also a belly dancer at the time. And so it was this funny thing, but I was very physical. And so I was like, well, I could either be a hairdresser or a personal trainer because I could do that within a year. Right. And I don't need to go to 8 years of school.
Right. Mama needed cash.
Yeah. And I also needed to not go to school. I just didn't do well in high school whatsoever. And I learn, I'm a very kinesthetic learner and I'm a conceptual learner and it did not work for me in regular school. And so I picked personal training. And that's what I did at that age. And so it was like this drive to help people with what I had. Yeah. Like, this is what I have. This is how I can do it. And of course, I want to support myself too. And I'm a true entrepreneur in that way. And it wasn't until, in my late 30s that I was like, oh, this is so fucking small. Like, this is so small. And I'm good at it. As Gay Hendricks talks about in The Big Leap. I love how he talks about did you love that book?
I'm laughing because my audience knows it is my favorite personal transformation book of all time, hands down.
Me too. Like,
of course it is.
I love that. And yeah, I reference it all the time, but that zone of excellence is sneaky, right? And I just stayed in that. And it was really this total rebirth. And of course, like Dark Night of the Soul and the Phoenix Rising, all the drama that's included in that, but stepping into the same type of questions, like what is my true gift though, instead of just like, what am I good at?
Yes, because we're good at so many things. That doesn't mean we enjoy it. Like, I'm great at Excel spreadsheets. Thank you, corporate America. But it's not like, and there's people who, I have a good friend, like she works for Bank of America. Like she does spreadsheets for a living and she actually loves it. Yeah. I would die a slow death, like not happening.
Yes, I would die a fast one. Oh, please. But we are. And especially when you're driven and you really like feel life, you're not somebody who's like just going to sit on the couch. You never would be okay with not doing something, but you still can get stuck in that. Well, I'm doing it because I'm just good enough. It's good enough. And I think I mean, I lived in that for so long. And and so when you ask like, well, did I just come out of the womb with this? It's like, yes and no. I came out of the womb with the soul to do this. And then I had to like bob and weave and actually listen to the call much later in life.
Some of us get the call. Actually, we all do, right? But we might not be present enough, self-aware enough, slow enough to hear it or even trust it, right? I mean, I got messages all when I was in corporate America in the pharmaceutical industry. And then I became an entrepreneur, and I still have that company, but that wasn't really my soul calling, right? I have a great gratitude and appreciation for it. And I kept getting it and I had a lot of awareness. I mean, I've done a ton of work over the years, but I still didn't step into it. So what made you step into it?
Well, it was actually my dad's death, and it was it was 1 second he was here, 1 second he was gone. And I found out through a phone call, and that was such a huge catalyst. And actually at that point I was still doing fitness. So I had it was incremental. And so I'd love to be like, well, it was just one thing. But of course we can identify those catalysts, and that was for sure one, but I already had the catalyst to play bigger. I just didn't abandon the excellence yet. I was like, let me stretch myself in this one area of sharing a message, being visible. And that was actually fitness, was my first year online. And I built all of these, I have like multiple digital fitness programs, which is so crazy because I would not recommend starting an online business with a $21 program, like a digital program. That's what I did. So I made like, $5,000 or something that first 6 months, it's okay because I learned so much. And it was when my dad passed away, and that was on a Friday, and he was healthy. He had heart issues, but didn't know it. Like he actually had a heart attack and didn't know it, and went to the doctor for a regular checkup. And they were like, well, you've had a heart attack at some point. You're going to need to have this surgery, like go under the knife and have the surgery that you would have if you thought you were sick. And he ended up having that surgery. And for the next 2 years was just like hell bent on being so healthy, working out, sending me videos of his abs, like after his TRX workout. Yeah. Incredibly healthy. And so it just, sometimes we can't fight it. In fact, he had a book on his coffee table that my younger sister took a picture of when she went over there that weekend. And it was called How Not to Die.
Wow. Isn't that a control freak's dream book?
Oh my God. How Not to Die. It was funny because like you try and find humor, anything in moments like that, right? She's like, 0 out of 10. I do not recommend.
Yeah, no kidding.
Don't read this book. Oh my gosh. But it was actually like over that weekend that I was taking a walk. No, that's not true. It was a few weeks later. Actually, I have no memory of the first few weeks because shock is like a beast all of its own.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had any experience.
Well, my dad died of pancreatic cancer. From diagnosis to death was 6 weeks. So it wasn't like a heart attack, but it was fast.
Total shock.
And grueling to watch. So I'm resonating with everything you're saying.
Oh my goodness. When was that for you?
It was before my 25th birthday, and I'm an only child. My dad's an only child. So is my mom. So is the only living relative of his present.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was
so
a
much
trip
to go through at that age.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So you only really can deeply resonate when you've been through it. But I think we also all as just people with hearts can understand how big it is. But yeah, that traumatic piece, that shock piece, you can't describe it. And so, yeah, I don't know what happened for those first few weeks. But not that long after, I really just had an epiphany. And so when you think like, okay, obviously there was years and lifetimes, maybe even of getting to this point, but it was on a walk. I was taking a walk, listening. I think I might have been re-listening for the second time to The Big Leap. You want to know what's funny is I had been asked to speak on something because I'd started becoming really visible, and it was obvious that I was not a fitness Like that was not what I was meant to be known for.
I mean, you guys, when you go to her Instagram at the jayarose.com, that's her website, or at the Jaya Rose, you will see, like, you won't think fitness, not in a bad way. It's just energetically, like, I mean, I've spent time with you in real life and I never thought that energetically from you at all. It's so interesting.
Well, because I also was a life coach and I was just actually more like a life coach personal trainer. People stayed with me for 5 years at a time.
I bet. You're like the therapist, right? You're like the therapist. They came, it's like, we had a good workout, but they're coming really for the life coaching, right?
Exactly. And the relationship and all of that. And so people could feel that already. And I had been asked to speak on The Big Leap. They were like, what do you want to speak on? And I was like, I'll speak on The Big Leap and just the concepts within that book. And so I was re-listening to it in order to speak on this. So it was like I was already being called out of this smaller frame or box, whatever I had put myself in. And in listening to it, it was like a lightning strike. Fitness is your zone of excellence. And I remember coming home thinking, okay, like I cannot ignore this. I can't. As much as we can ignore messages over and over, this was one that was not going to be ignored. And I sat down with my husband and I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to do fitness anymore. And of course, it's like some validation for him I was looking for. And it wasn't his journey. He wasn't even judgmental whatsoever. He was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like typical guy, like, that's great, honey. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, that's fine. No problem.
What's for dinner?
I did just spend a year building out 2 digital programs. And I had just opened a membership program about 4 months before that. But whatever, and I ditched it all. And I actually went into visibility because I had been using video. I mean, I've created obviously hundreds of videos because in fitness,
it's a lot of time and effort.
Oh yeah, so much. And then live video had just come out that summer and I had been using it to just talk. Cause this is like, this is definitely my zone, is to talk and, break down concepts, maybe that are even hard for some people to break down. I'd say that's kind of like that's my genius. And I was like, oh, people need to know this. And so I created a 6-figure business teaching visibility in 10 months. Just boom. And then another lightning struck in the form of a failed launch.
Oh, I love this topic. Love it.
It's like the failed launch. Like, what is the lesson here? And the lesson, I could have used it as evidence any which way. Like, is the evidence I need to go bigger, right? Because I've had whatever slow launches since I've pivoted and I'm like in my motherfucking soul's calling. And it means that I need to go bigger. Like I hired a huge Facebook ad team after I had a slow launch. And so, right, like the evidence is what you make it.
Because I love we're talking about this and that, you are someone who's like me. We share all sides of business and it ain't always pretty, guys. You do have if you're not having some failures and bombs, you're not trying hard enough.
Yes.
But what a lot of people, and I know a lot of you guys listening are really like your ears are perking up because what happens is you guys pivot or maybe you adjust something in your business or you're finally starting that side hustle because you know where you're at, like in your regular corporate job isn't your thing. And then you start doing it. Maybe you get some good feedback or then you pivot and then you have a bomb, it fails. So tell people what it is you do mindset wise, because you can go down that path of God, what was I thinking? This must be a sign this isn't for me.
Right. And this is what I mean. It's like the evidence is there and everything we choose in life, down to like the love that you choose, the relationships, the business, the clients, there's evidence for everything. Like, what are you gonna choose? And in that, I chose that it wasn't right for me. Like I chose that I wasn't in full alignment with what I'm really here to do. And it was because when I asked myself the question, what do you want to be known for? I knew that visibility and video was not it. It was too superficial.
And would you say that is likely why the launch failed?
Yes. It was there to show me. And here's the real question, Tiffany, is that, so I had put 13 grand into getting the launch out there and, some Facebook ads. And that was the most I had ever invested in a launch at that point. Everything else I had done really organically. And so I was like, oh, this is going to work, and I hustled like more than I'm comfortable with. I'm an action taker, but there's a big difference between action and hustle, as you know.
Yeah.
Right?
Hustle's out of fear.
And
action's out of like true alignment, right?
Yes, exactly. And it took me, so I also did something I would never do again. And that's I created so it was a digital course. I was taking something called Rock Your Videos.
Okay.
And Rock Your Videos is what I created that 6-figure income with in a short amount of time. I had so much proof. I had over 50 people had gone through it, paid me over $1,000 for it. And so I was like, oh, of course, I'm just going to take this content, create it digital, sell it for $4.97. Like super smart, right?
Yeah. Sounds smart to me.
I know. And like, I think it's great. Someone else should do it.
I might do it.
I actually have Rock Your Videos. It's a course. It's fucking great. But like, I use it as like a bonus for courses, for like the deeper work I do. Because people still do need to get their message out and use video.
So wait, let me go back a little. So when you launched the Rock Your Video that was a success, it was more of like a live group coaching thing?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you repackaged it into a course, and that's what failed.
And it was my own limitations. I call them like imagined limitations around taking myself out and allowing there to be transformation. So I knew that when I was coaching them, right? And I had been a personal trainer and a life coach for 12 years. Like I know how to create transformation and how to be with people. But that extension that a digital course creates, like the extension of you, I just had so much around that. But also it's because what do you want to be known for? Because that real far out extension, like versus A to B, hey, I'm on a live video. Here's what I have to offer. Come into my world, to like Facebook ads, the whole funnel, the opt-in to lead in, like that's not in alignment because it's not what I meant to be known for.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Well, I guess here's where I know I love getting into the minds of my listeners. So, because really, you guys are all an extension of like my crazy bat mind. Mm-hmm. What I'm thinking when you say that is, I would get conflicted because when you first put out this Rock Your Video as a group coaching, and you were very much involved, right? You had proof. You had success. People loved it. People had transformation. So I'd go, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then repackaging it into a course where there isn't a live component of you, right? Yep. They can take it whenever they want. It didn't do well. It'd be very confusing, I guess, is what I'm saying. So what got you that clarity? Yeah. Because some of us would go, okay, this isn't meant to be a course. I'm going to just keep redoing the group version of this. Right.
It was because it was a lesson I had already been through just a year prior about the zone of excellence, where I was like, okay, fitness, I obviously am great at it. And I had I had worked for myself for over 10 years, never took out a loan, and I only made like $30,000 a year. But at the time, that was all I was trying to do. But in that, I took out the part that is me, the me part of it, when I went online. And then I knew, well, fitness is not the subject, right? Fitness isn't the subject because the thing that activates it is me. Okay, so then what is really in me? And then I was like, oh, visibility, all this online stuff. Yeah, I love it. Okay. But then when I was still teaching it, same thing. I was activating the subject. So I was deluded that it was like my true soul calling in a way because it was activated. As soon as I took myself out of it and it wasn't activated anymore, the question is the subject congruent with my true soul's calling? Yeah. If I'm not activating it.
Yeah.
Because I can activate anything.
Right. Right. And so if it was truly in alignment with you, it wouldn't have bombed. Is that what you're saying?
I think that no, because so then I took a year-long dark night of the soul asking myself, what am I meant to be known for? Then I figured it out actually, which is really fucking incredible. And then I went into, what am I meant to do that will serve at my highest level and reach people who are going to serve at their highest level?
You guys need to write this down if you're driving.
Yeah.
You can always DM me at ProjectME with Tiffany, and I will remind you of those two things, because those are two big questions I want you all to ask yourselves. Those are everything. Go ahead.
You
Sorry.
got to be ready for the answer, right? Though you got to be ready. Also, you got to be ready to not have the answer. That's the fucking hard part. Like, you got to be ready.
Just because you ask the question doesn't mean that answer comes, right? We don't get to control when it comes. We have to allow it to come.
Yeah. Yeah, it's intense. And so it was like building my spiritual fortitude, my spiritual integrity, truly, to go through this process, though. And through that process is when I created my Embody method, which is what I teach now, which is the answer to your question. Would it have been successful if it would have been my true soul's calling? And no, but I would look at it differently. Okay. So this is what I mean about the evidence. So when I launched Embody, I've ran 2 rounds. The first round did great, amazing. Oh my God, all the results, all the people feel so good, feel so aligned. The second round, only half the amount of people came in, and 2 people bailed out of it in the middle of it because they couldn't pay their payment plans anymore.
See, that would bring most people, even me, for a period of time, almost back to a state of confusion. Wait a second. What's happening here? Okay, take us through this. This is amazing.
So what's the evidence, right? And it's like, because I'm convicted, I know who I am. I know what I'm meant to be known for. And I know what I'm meant to do to serve at the highest level, to impact the people who will serve at their highest level. I really do feel anchored into those answers that I received. Like, I believe them. And what happens is that then I get to decide, well, what did I bring to this? That's how I got through it. And this is only like a few months ago that I went through all this stuff. And so it's the question, like, instead of what does this mean about me? It's like, what did I bring and how can I shift it? And I had scarcity when I sold those spots into the program. And that's why they bailed out. And I had, I wasn't ready to launch it, because I launched the first one and I'm seeing this model. I'm taught this model, like, go start advertising, you start the next round, a couple weeks after. And it wasn't in alignment for me, because when I sold it the first time, I was selling the dream. I had no evidence. I created the program after the women came in weekly, right? As the modules came out, which is awesome. And it's so organic. But we were only on like week 9 and I'm supposed to start selling it already. And I don't know I felt like disloyal. I felt disloyal to them and to the integrity of the actual methodology and program. Like, hold up, sister. Like, wait a minute,
Right. What's the hurry?
Yeah, the hurry was money.
Yeah.
Because I'm all in on this and I'm the breadwinner. My husband works in my business.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's an added pressure. I mean, it is.
It is. Yeah. And I like really work on the energetics of it all to not allow it to be negative, but it's there, and so I can look back and see, but it was my energy around, like, let me force it. I have to do it quicker because of money. I need to let these people in who I'm reaching down to pull up and in by giving them an extended payment plan, by giving them an extra bonus, just fucking scarcity. It was.
What type of things? Because that, like, one of the big things I'm known for teaching is money mindset, right? So when you say scarcity, right? I mean, there's a whole range of thoughts. So if you remember, what are some of the thoughts and beliefs that you uncovered that you had around this launch that were coming up? Totally.
So 1, I have to do it the way other people do it. So if so-and-so does it and it's successful, then I need to do it that way. Oh my God, that's going to make me cry. That's like, oh my God. And it's still my mission to give, it's my mission to give permission to say, do it the way it feels good. And because when you choose to live in soul alignment and really move your purpose into the world, this is what's happened for me. When I get out of alignment a tiny bit, listen, alignment is 100% alignment. Anything a 10th of a degree is not alignment. We scientifically, right? Like, or whatever it is, physically,
I don't know,
physiologically.
but I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? And in that, What's happened is as I've embodied it more and more, I am like not allowed. And I say this not in a controlling way, but to be in my spiritual alignment and integrity, I am not allowed to treat this like it's somebody else's fucking mission. Like it's somebody else's job to say how it should be done. Because it is truly me that's the magnet. And I have so many stories and representations of the good and the bad, like the repelling success and repelling people because it wasn't in alignment, to the just like easy, it's like remarkable, miraculous shit happening because I'm in alignment and magnetic.
So when you first, obviously it starts with awareness and acceptance. So when you had this awareness and acceptance, and you went, okay, like I've been trying to, do a launch, what we see online, right? Which, I know it stresses you guys out because you tell me, it's like you've got to have a sales funnel, and then you've got to pre-launch it, and then you've got to be a spaz and do email lists and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I hate even like saying all the things because it gives me a rash too. So did you then go, you know what? Scrap all this shit. I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah. So it's almost like it's the opposite. So going back to that evidence, the first time the failed launch happened, it was evidence that I needed to go deeper, that I needed to be more in alignment. The second time, and I don't call it a failed launch. Like it just is what it is. It was the second launch of my program.
Situation is what I always say.
Yeah, it was a situation. Well, it is. It was. Yeah. What was your specific question about it?
Is I want to know, like, what did you scrap it all when this happened, when the second round, and go, you know what, screw it. I'm not going to do it all the way all these gurus teach it. I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah. Yeah. And quickly. So I would say that this is a blessing of mine because I'm a Sagittarius, and like freedom and letting go are two sides of a coin for me. And I can let go really quickly and shift. I just have an ability to shift really quickly. So this is all within 3 days. Literally. And the Rock Your Videos launch, as soon as I saw what was happening, I already just decided that I was going to make what it meant. And that's how I moved forward.
Oh, this is why I love Sages. You guys are so good for Virgo, Miss Virgo Tiffany, because we hold on for dear goddamn life.
Like, come on, you're okay. Let's go. You're going to be all right. Let's look at the bigger picture here. How can we feel free inside of this? Like, how can I free myself from the bondage of the way I'm looking at it? And whether that means I need to scrap it or I need to go deeper and pivot. And I don't even call it pivot at this point because I'm so anchored into what I'm doing, but I call it like, actually my mom just gave me this word. She's like, you're not pivoting. You're, and I forgot the word the last time too, but it's like a redefining. Yeah. It's not that word either.
I know what you're saying though. It's you're sinking in. You're sinking further in.
Yeah, exactly. And so when I had the smaller launch the second time, I also had gotten sick. I got a sinus infection. I was sick for 10 days. And what I decided was I'm not willing to do it this way. And I want something to be working for me. And Facebook ads is what came up. It's like I am a big Facebook person, and video is obviously so good for me. So I'm like, I want to have Facebook ads out there. Like I feel like I need to, like I need to do it a different way and show up differently and give people a new experience for marketing.
That's awesome. I mean, I've been doing Facebook ads since they came out. That's how I make a majority of all of my money in multiple businesses. I fucking love Facebook ads. Yeah. So I'm happy that you love them too.
Yeah. I mean, I just started. So when I had that launch, I was like, I decided it's go bigger. You know, I love that quote that was at the event that we met at, the
Harmonious Hustle.
Yeah. And it was, nah, go bigger. God.
Yeah.
And I hear that, you know, and like, that's what it was. It was like, nah, go bigger. That's why your audience, my audience shrank. So I had grown a pretty big audience with visibility. And then it was like a funnel system. They followed me, some of them, when I switched more to the inner game and spiritual alignment, but I hadn't grown that audience yet.
Right.
And that's how I looked at it. I was like, well, it's just not enough people. Let's get it in front of more people.
And so once and maybe you haven't done it yet, since you're basically sharing all this in almost real time with us, which is so cool. Have you launched your videos yet? Are your ads yet for your next round?
Yeah. So the offer I have for you guys today that you asked me about, the 7 steps to unleash your authentic power, is the top of the funnel, right? And this is all just go like that's starting on ads tomorrow. I started with the ad company a few weeks ago, but the offer I had, the freebie offer, wasn't in full alignment because I had created it just like spontaneously, just for my audience that I thought they wanted it, and they did, and they liked it, but it wasn't like connected to stuff. And now it's like all the things are connected. And it really has, like, Tiffany, it's crazy because you know how you'll go through something and you're like, oh, I've cleared that, or like that feels better, that's healed. But then you get to your next level, aka your next layer, and then it's like it's still there. So it's this fear of, how do I activate? Like, how do I activate my freebie to the point where then my digital course that's offered next still has that activation, and it's all in alignment with people wanting to then come in and work with me and embody.
So
And I'm
we
like,
have not yet seen the magic that's about to happen with
yeah,
you doing this in your way that feels aligned and good to you. We don't know
yeah.
yet. Oh God, we have to stay. We have to stay tuned. I mean, I feel it's going to be amazing. That's just like my feeling about it. Because truly, anytime we're doing something that feels right, and I don't just mean in your mind, you guys need to go below the neck into your body too. It feels right in your body. Listen, this doesn't mean that you wake up every day and you're like, I'm aligned. You know what I mean? You're still going to have shit that happens. And and having shit that happens doesn't all of a sudden mean you're off course. This is what's so beautiful about you giving us this real life look at this.
Yeah.
Right?
It doesn't mean that, because it's contrast. And understanding that contrast, or like the law of polarity, if you're looking at universal laws, is a part of everything. You know, it's like why there's so much contrast in the world is because we get to decide, and we get to choose over and over again what we desire. And you don't really have the opportunity to choose again if something doesn't get wonky, right? It would just be boring. It would be linear.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I've had times in my life, I think I even had almost a solid year where it was like everything I touched turned to gold. But guess what, you guys? It's a great feeling. But guess what comes up then? Oh my God, I hope this never ends. Oh my God, this is too good to be true. Oh my God, this is probably going to end. Oh my God, other shit comes up.
Yeah, right. It's like then you have to stretch the capacity to hold it and to receive it. It's it's every level. So yeah, I'll keep you posted. And I do feel the alignment. And I feel like even the first week I put out this, it was called a 5-day magnetic abundance activation. And I was like, that's cool. That's kind of a part of what I do, but it was more like universal laws. It's not money. Like, to me, abundance is like abundance of good feeling, abundance of everything you desire. And yet when I saw it, that extension, that's all the way out there at whatever point you want to call it. It's like 0.5, where like I'm at 0.1. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I need a better way of describing it. But, in the funnel system, it's so removed from me. And I saw it, I almost look at it like the big city lights or something. I'm like, Jaya Rose, abundance. And I'm like, that's not what I fucking teach. What am I doing? And so we ran that for 5 days. And I was looking, because you can see the people coming in, and I do it through Messenger bot, that particular freebie. So I'm seeing them come into my business account messages, and I'm like, this isn't right. These are not my people. I already knew they weren't going to buy the upsell.
Now I know what my audience is already thinking. They're going to go, what's a messenger bot? So now you have to explain briefly what a messenger bot is, and do you recommend it?
Oh my God, I love Messenger bot. Genius. If all of your audience is on Instagram, then I would say it's probably not as good. But if you can, like, if you're doing Facebook ads, then you're building an audience on Facebook too, right? And through your business page and through likes on your business page. So Messenger bot is really like a simplified email system, but it's through Messenger. So they opt in and they're on a list, and it's a third party. So I use ManyChat software, and it's pretty simple. My husband actually sets it all up, and he like does it for other people sometimes. Like, I'll recommend my clients to go get one set up for him and stuff.
I might have him do it for me.
Yes, Tiffany, I could oh my God, yeah, let's geek out on it. Cause I do a lot more like soul stuff, but I love strategy too. Like I'm a 50-50 masculine, feminine kind of gal.
You guys know who uses messenger bots really successfully, and most of you guys probably know who this is Gabrielle Bernstein, Spirit Junkie Masterclass.
Really? I've never did hers.
Hardcore on the messenger bots. So basically, you guys, it's when you're not having to do the work. It's actual like
it's automated.
It's automated, and you get an alert like you have a message in your Facebook Messenger, and look who it is. It's Jaya. It's Jaya Rose with her 7 steps to unleash your authentic power, and you're like, oh my God, that's cool. Like she's giving me a freebie. I click on it, and in order to get the freebie, I have to give my name and email.
Yeah, exactly. And I did that one. Yeah. This one, I actually was building my email list too. So like they come in through email, like a regular landing page kind of a thing. And then in order to start receiving the 5 days of activation stuff, you have to click and go in. But I mean, there's all different ways to do it. You could do it the way you said it too. I love it though. So mainly I use it for live trainings because I do a lot of Facebook Live, and I will let people know, hey, I'm going to go live. It's going to be about this topic. And I'll send you the link when I go live, and I will get like 4 times as many live viewers.
And so in this format that your husband teaches or in ManyChat, it actually will go after your ideal customers. It's not just grabbing anybody.
Well, it's a freebie. It's the same exact strategy. So like if you were going to use a Facebook ad, it would just be your opt-in, your freebie, whatever it is, but you would deliver it through Messenger. Yeah. And there are a lot of different strategies you can do, like a guessing game, guess what it is, and I'll send you the answer in Messenger. But once they get in there, they're just in a list. It's just like an email list, but you communicate with them. And I love it because I would rather send a Facebook message than an email. I would rather read a Facebook message than an email personally.
And your ideal client, which is typically, right, an extension of ourselves.
Yes.
Obviously prefers it, and that's why it's working. If your ideal client they prefer email, then this might not be the best strategy. But I just wanted us to touch on that because I know that's what I'll end up getting a million DMs about. Like, but Tiffany, you say not to use bots. No, I say not to buy followers. I mean bots, totally I mean bots in that way. This just means automated.
Yes, exactly. And it's like it's you. People say they love my bot because it's really just me. I mean, I write a message and then I just send it to a few hundred people instead of one.
Right.
Yeah, simple. I don't know. Oh, right. So delivering that, and I could see them, and I was like, these are not my people. And so I think that's the end of that story, really, just that refining. That's the word. It's the refinement. It's like, that didn't mean that nobody's going to like me or I can't find my right audience. It's like, I wasn't speaking the right language. Isn't it kind of like that too? Where it's like you think like, oh, magnetic abundance or authentic power, like kind of similar. No, it's not. Just the way I feel when I'm like authentic power, like, yeah, fuck yeah, that's me.
See, that appeals to me much more. Authentic power, because that's my personality. I have that, that fire in me, and it's like, yeah, hell yeah, girl. Like I like that. Mm-hmm. But then someone else's audience, right, might appeal more to, the magnetic abundance. It's, you guys, it really is looking at the words you use. It could be one word you're shifting. That's why I always say we're experimenting when it comes to marketing, because it can be one word. It could be how your colors, it can be the visuals you use, right?
Yeah, totally. And I think it's how you feel. That's what I realized. I was like, I feel a little bit of resistance to this, and that's not going to work. And this is what I've come to is that for me, I use the messages or the failed launches or the people dropping out or whatever those things that could be viewed as negative. I view them as positive because I get to deepen my integrity with myself. I know that I had more scarcity, and I know that is not good enough. Like that, it's not that there's something wrong with it, but it's like, it's not good enough for the integrity of this embody method that I was gifted through doing the deep ass work that I had to do to receive it. And I feel like I'm the messenger, right? And that's important. Like I'm the vessel for this to come through. And it's really important for me to stay in alignment with it and to be true to it. And that's what and like, what a beautiful gift before I actually scale, right?
Right. You want to make all of these, do all this refinement, as we say.
Yes,
but, what I mean underneath that is, have things that bomb, have situations. Yes, have these as you're growing. They're a lot less expensive than maybe where you're at, like where I'm at this point. When you're in the seven figures and you bomb, it's expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Like I lose like 70 grand in a week, and it's like, well, that was fun. But I mean, it's all relative. If you guys are loving hearing this jam between Jaya and myself and getting like a real life, almost in real time example, so you guys can start gauging what really feels right to you. Are you doing what you're good at? Or are you doing what you really are meant to be doing? If you guys are loving it, take a screenshot right now. Share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, tag me at ProjectME with Tiffany, tag at the Jaya Rose, and we will make sure we share it as well. But this way, we know that you guys are getting it and you loved hearing like two entrepreneurs like give you the real, like, we pulled back the curtain today. Yeah. Like, this is real shit, you guys. Like, it's not all pretty, right?
If you're going to advertise being authentic, I guess that means you got to bring it.
It's like, I'm authentic. And once in a while, I show myself like with no makeup. It's like, no, honey, that doesn't work for me.
Right. Although I do love makeup, but I get up in the morning, I put my makeup on first because it's like my ritual and it makes me feel awake and good.
Yeah, I mean, you can wear loads of makeup and be authentic. That's not any one thing. Like we said in the beginning, it's the energy you're bringing forth. You can't fake energy, and people can tell. Even if, because I lived like this, and I don't know if you can relate to this as we're wrapping up here, but I lived like this, you guys, almost all of my life up until about 4.5 years ago. You wouldn't have actually probably thought I was fake, but I was full of shit. I didn't know. I didn't give myself permission. I didn't know how to be the real me. I didn't really know who that was. Yeah. It was, so that's why I can recognize it so quickly when I see others doing it, and I have compassion for them, right? Yeah, because some of us just didn't know any better, and some of us are just fake as fuck.
And it's scary. It's scary to be vulnerable and scary to be the real you, because then if somebody rejects you, you don't have a mask to say, oh, well, they were just rejecting my mask.
Oh, God, I so get that. That was really hard. That first year, I would always say, I'm walking around without my skin on. Because when whether someone made a little comment like, oh, like, it looks like you like lost some weight. It's like, what was I fat before? Like I was so hypersensitive because it was the real Tiffany anyone was referring to. I didn't have that protection, like you said, of the mask. That makes so much sense.
It totally does, which is why authentic power speaks to you, because you know what it actually means to step into that.
I love it.
Right?
I love it. You guys, we want to make sure that you get this, like this freebie. So the 7 steps to unleash your authentic power. Best way to get it, especially if you're like driving or multitasking, is going to thejayarose.com. So the JAYAROSE.com. If for some reason you forget, just DM me at ProjectME with Tiffany and I'll send you the link to get there. Because I want to make sure you guys get this, because this will be just like a beautiful package and a compliment to what we spoke about today, right?
Definitely. Yeah. Well, then you'll be like, okay, great. So she had all these failures, like, but what? So I actually take you through the 7 phases of the Embody method and what I learned through going deep and being willing to ask those big questions. And it takes you through, it's like part practical, part spiritual. It's both, because I believe we need both. And it asks some great questions in there that will make you, it'll make you think.
Oh my God. I loved I love having you on. I resonate so much with your energy. And you guys, again, you love this episode, take a quick screenshot right now. Tag me at Project Me with Tiffany. Also tag at the Jaya Rose. And I'll make sure that I share those so we can share the magic of the show. Like if you feel your audience or your friends, someone else you know that really needs to hear this message, and you know who those people are immediately when I say that, give them a gift and share some of this magic here today.
So beautiful. Yeah.
Thanks so much for taking the time to come on and talk to all of us.
Of course. So happy to do it. And thank you for this space that you create in being authentic as we're on a roll with this, but also like showing that there are bigger dreams to be had and that it's possible to show up in all of yourself and be like, I feel like you are very powerful. I would describe you as powerful, and you're also fun and big. Like you're not big, but you know what I mean? Like you're like a big personality and you're fucking owning it. And I feel like just that alone, like the gift of that and how that affects people, like maybe maybe you don't know, but I just want to honor you in that and being willing to show up.
Thank you. That was so sweet. I totally take that in and receive that. We don't always know how we come across or impact other people. So that means a lot to me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, girl. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.